We did not get, and everybody had all kinds of wild theories, including myself. I thought Magneto was going to show up. Wrong. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Downtime with DeMille. I hope you all are having a great time whenever you're watching this, because this is Friday, the Friday evening after Wandavision premiered early in the morning on Friday. So this is going to be a spoiler talk that I'm going to do, talking about the season finale of Wandavision, episode 9. So if you have not seen this, go back, watch it, come back, and then let's talk about it down in the comments below. Before I get into this spoiler talk, look, if this is your first time visiting the channel and if you like the content that I produce, don't forget to hit that like, man, and share this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I produce a new video. And yeah, hit that like, because likes really help out the channel and it'll put a smile on my face too, and I greatly appreciate that. So, episode 9, man. So, you know, let's just get to the basics first. So here's what you want to know. 50 minutes long, and there are 2 post-credit scenes. So if you've watched this and you didn't know, like, oh, there was a post-credit scene, you need to go back because there are 2 post-credit scenes. One at the very, very end, and then one just a little ways after the main credits start to roll. So stick around for that, and I'm going to talk about, you know, what was in those as well. So I was really, I was feeling this episode. This was a really good episode. I really was getting really into it. You know, I like the fact that they really appeared to kind of tie up a few loose ends, because if you remember in episode 8, there was no Monica Rambeau. There was no Quicksilver. And so what we discovered is that Quicksilver is actually not Quicksilver at all. He was Ralph, who was Agatha's husband that she always was mentioning previously in the episode. So he was just a regular guy who just happened to look like Quicksilver from Fox's X-Men. Which, I'll be honest, that part was a little disappointing, because I was kind of hoping that that was kind of, you know, setting the groundwork for the X-Men, and maybe to some degree, maybe just him being there. Maybe, you know, you could say, well, yeah, they've now introduced, but not really. So it is what it is with that. But we also got to see Monica Rambeau as well. We got to see her, you know, use her powers when she was defending Wanda's kids when they were getting shot at by the agents. And you know, so we got a chance to see a little bit more of that, and Monica is really starting to come into her own. And really what this did was set up her involvement in what will be Captain Marvel 2, because there's a post-credit scene where, I'm going to talk about that in a few moments, where she does, you kind of know exactly where they're going with that as far as her appearing in Captain Marvel 2. So the 2 big spectacles in this episode, in my opinion, had to have been the fight scene between Agatha and Wanda, as well as White Vision and the Vision that is created inside of the Hex. There was some of the best CG that was during the entire episode, or the entire series, in this episode. So it was very well done, classic Marvel, everything that you would have really wanted to see in a Disney Plus, you know, WandaVision episode that comes from what we all know and love with Marvel. It was all here. It was all here in this particular episode. And, you know, in terms of, you know, special effects, the visuals, everything was really turned up several notches. So I really enjoyed that. So you got all of those fight scenes. Now, I'll be honest with you. There was a moment when they had White Vision and regular Vision, and they were talking to each other in what looked like a library, and, you know, the camera was kind of panning. I'm going to be honest with you. For a moment, I was like, are they getting ready to show Doctor Strange? Because that's kind of, it did look a little bit like the Sanctum Sanctorum a little bit. But, you know, I'll go ahead and say this. And, you know, this is like one of the things that if you've watched any of my other videos on WandaVision, I was just speculating who's going to be the main cameo. Who's going to be that? Who's going to be the surprise cameo in the finale? And we did not get, and everybody had all kinds of wild theories, including myself. I thought Magneto was going to show up. Wrong. You know, there were some people that said Nightmare, Mephisto. Wrong. I was even like, okay, at least we're going to get Doctor Strange. Wrong. We didn't get Doctor Strange either. So, yeah. If you were looking for a big cameo, you would probably be a little disappointed. That being said, that does not mean the episode was a bad episode. It did what it needed to do. It set up Captain Marvel 2. It set up Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And so, you know, it did what it needed to do. It also tied up a few loose ends with Wanda and her kids. And, well, not quite. Not quite. I'll get to that in a moment. But it did what it needed to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just go into the post-credit scenes. So in the first post-credit scene, one of the agents tells Monica Rambeau that they need to see her in the theater. So Monica walks in the theater. The agent that accompanies her reveals herself as a Skrull and saying that there's someone up that wants to see you. And she kind of points to the air, which is basically like the space or whatnot. And, you know, Monica kind of looks up and, you know, she gets this smile on her face. And, you know, all of this is setting up Captain Marvel too, because everything that Monica has been building up to, her powers, it's all what we know is leading her into that Monica photon, you know, the photon version of her abilities and her powers and all of that, and taking on her mother's name, her mother's code name of Photon. So she's getting ready to enter into that universe, and that's basically what the Skrull was teasing. So we'll see that. We'll see that in Captain Marvel 2. That was pretty much what the first post-credit scene was about. Okay, so I forgot to include this. I'm sitting here editing the video. As far as Wanda's kids go, of course, at the end of the episode, when the hex is basically diminishing and changing everything back to normal, Wanda's kids are no longer, because they were created in her reality. So, but in the post-credit scene, I forgot to mention, when Wanda is actually studying and in that cabin, it's like she's studying the book and everything, that magic book, you hear, it sounds like those are her kids calling out for her. So not exactly sure. So I don't know that they necessarily tied up that loose end. That's the point that I was going to get at in the video that I forgot to include in the original video. Okay, so back to the video. Second post-credit scene, this right at the very, very end, shows Wanda all by herself in this very remote, you know, place in the world. It's just mountains and water. It's just very serene. And she's all by herself in this cabin. And what's happening is you see her get up off the porch and she goes into the house to get some tea or something like that. But then the camera pans around and looks in another room and you see what looks to be the real Wanda. And she's actually reading the book and studying and becoming how to become how to really unlock all of her powers and really understand what this magic can really do. And so then the episode ends, and that's the end of the post-credit scene. So I would definitely say that this was a really, really good episode. You know, if you were looking for major, you know, cameos, you're probably going to be a little disappointed, but it doesn't mean the episode wasn't good, because it was good. And, you know, it's a little disappointing seeing it come to an end, because I'll admit, you know, I was one of the ones that when this series first started, I was very skeptical, and seeing it, how it really just kind of built and delivered and surprised us a few times, I can say this was really, really a good series, and I'm glad I watched it. So those are my thoughts on episode 9, WandaVision. And now what I want you to do is just tell me, what did you think about the series as a whole? Were you disappointed that there were no cameos in the end? Was there any Easter eggs that you saw that you want to talk about? This is a great time to post your thoughts down in the comments below and just tell me what you thought about it and where do you see this going from here. Who was your main cameo that you thought was going to show up in episode 9? Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. On the way out, hit that like if you liked the video, and I'm about to enjoy my Friday night. I hope you all do the same. If you can see this video, as I always say, you are truly blessed. And as always, what are you gonna do in your downtime? Peace out and have a great weekend. Subscribe!